Oh, goodness. Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to the studio. Happy Art Show Week. Yay! It's finally here. The grand finale of our school year happens on Sunday afternoon, and we're so excited to get to see all of our artists and exhibit some amazing art and celebrate these humans that we get to, see every week and be a part of their journey to adulthood. So we're so blessed to get to like be a part of their lives, and so this is a really special week for us. We hope that you guys can join us for Art Show Week. We're going to go over everything else that's happening in classes this week. Starting with, it is the 4th week of April, and so there are no preschool classes Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, even though Friday is technically May. No preschool classes. We'll go ahead and start all the preschool classes on next week, when we have a full week of May. You'll notice here there are no creative explorations classes on Wednesday. That is because that is it's actually a fifth, but that we've already had 3 creative exploration classes for the month of April, so we're going to take this one off. Friday, people, you are going to meet. You typically were not going to meet, but because we had, it seems like storms every Friday in April, we went ahead and bumped one of those Fridays to this week. So there are creative exploration classes on Friday, May 1st. So we'll talk about it when we get to your section 2, but just a reminder, that was an adjustment that we made that was not originally on your calendar when you signed up, but it has since been. So if you go into your Sawyer account and you look at your calendar, you will see a class date on here, because we just moved that, whatever it was, the 2nd week of April, I think is what we moved. So let's go over each one. Preschool classes, again, no classes this week. We'll move into metals next week. And last week we read The Lumberjack's Beard. We drew on like sticks and tree bark and tree stumps with wet chalk, which was a really fun experience, kind of to wrap our nature month. And then we made some animal themed art using mixed media and felting supplies for our lumberjack story. Next month, we'll move into some metals art, some sculpture. We'll look at the art of Alexander Calder, and all of our books deal with sculptural elements. So some of our funny books happen at the end of the month. The Pigeon book, gotta love that one. Don't Let the Pigeon Drive the Bus. Sylvester and the Magic Pebble, and This Is Not My Hat, which is another John Clausen book that we love. Okay. K-Third, I don't have any pictures, you guys, but I did bring art, so we're going to look through this. K-Third Multimedia is wrapping up their fiber arts month. So I've got some stuff to show you, because we're making these boho woven wall hangings, and they're all here. So I'm going to try to get them out without, I brought the entire box of ones from one class. So this is from, I think, Miss Liz's Thursday class, but I don't know which Thursday class, because she has a couple. It looks like that's how we pulled them out. Okay. Look at them. Aren't they fun? So this is the whole collection. We'll try to pull them out so you can see how different they all are. And so some of the steps that still need to happen, and some of the classes did them in an order or different orders, is the wire hangers, on whether or not they're adorned with beads or if they're just the wire. Some of them will choose to have a pipe cleaner one. You can see this guy. Look at that. We've got some braiding and some weaving and some knotting going on. We also have a pom-pom on there. I very carefully set them down so I don't tangle them up. I love the color scheme on this one. Look at that. So for these guys to finish up, they might still have some pom-poms that they want to add. They might have a final, ooh, that was heavy. They might have a final haircut that they want to do. So like trimming all the ends to be a certain length. See how this one is so long? I got to put my hand way up there in order to give you to like be able to see it. We have some amazing different yarns and fibers that they could choose from to decide. Ooh, I love the color scheme on this one too. It's kind of jewel tones. We have some braiding and twisting on this one. Oh, and a pom-pom. There's the pom-pom. A lot of our kids really love making the pom-poms, so hopefully that's a skill that they can take with them, because you can make pom-poms and use them in your daily life too. Every house needs pom-poms. If you didn't see the video we posted to Facebook yesterday, I think, was a pom-pom making video from YouTube from way back, you guys. Like, it was probably pre-COVID. I mean, it was a long time ago. I took it off of Facebook Live and put it on YouTube, but you can check that out. All right, so those are the ones that we've got. We got a long way to go still on those for some people, depending on how fast they knot um, or how detailed they got. This one has a lot of green in it, but I like to show it because look at how tight they are up here and how even everything is. This is green, and that's why it's showing up like that. But isn't that cool? Look at that. All right. So everybody's kind of in a different space, but everybody will finish this week, and then they'll get to take their wall hangings home. And then next month we'll start a new project, which will be our metals sculpture. It's got a wood base and then wire and metal adornments. Switch slides. For our 4th and our 5th and our homeschool, I also brought a bucket of stuff. So I'm going to show you these. I'm going to turn the names closer to me so that way we don't. All right, so these I have not looked at. They're going to be either bookmarks or they're going to be bracelets. And you can see we've got little tassels for the bookmarks. And this is felted. So we started with a felt base and then they added in all of the detail. Look at this ombre that we've got going on. And then last week, some of our kids explored different embroidery and stitching. This is a blanket stitch. So that's really awesome. Let's see. This one was in this bucket. Make sure I get it. And make sure I'm responsible with people's artwork. Let's look at this one. Ooh, so we have a needle attached to this one. So we're obviously still in. Look at that. So we've got a blanket stitch going around. Still in process with some of our stitching, but isn't that awesome? So this, the letters here are felted on. I showed the wool roving that we use. It's that like fibrous cotton candy fabric that they pulled apart and then used a barbed needle in order to get it to stay. There's another great one. So not everybody made a bookmark. Some people are making like cuff bracelets out of these. So we have wearable art as well. But I'm so pleased with some of this. This is the 2nd year we've done this project. And it is a night and day difference result-wise on what we got this year versus last year. I don't know if they're supposed to remind me of Teddy Grahams, but they do. We just have some really amazing design work that these guys did. And this is just one class. Of course, we've got lots of different classes working on different things. So not everybody is to the stitching part. Some people are still in the felting stage. Not everybody will add stitching to it. This one might be a surprise, so I'm not going to show it. Just based on the design. I'm like, oh, that one may be a surprise for somebody. Yeah. I love orange. They're also very textural. That's the fun thing about fiber arts is it's fun to experience them with your fingers. Okay. I'm gonna throw this one. I think that. Isn't that cool? What great designs. This is a lot of work, you guys. It's a lot of stabbing that has to happen with those barb needles to get all that felting up. So depending on where they're at, maybe some of them are still working on the felting. Maybe some of them are moving on to stitching. Maybe you had a simpler felting design. You already did the stitching and you might be done. We're on people in lots of different stages in week 4, but we're not worried about anybody finishing. So that is not a concern. I'm going to set this down. So we'll get those finished up. And then anybody that's like done coming into class, we'll get your artist statement written, your little like gallery tag done. And then there will be stations, like fiber art stations for you to explore. Either that's more sewing, more felting, which are 2 skills that this group already learned, or maybe they want to make pom-poms or make something out of like the yarn wall hanging, similar to the K-thers. They want to explore something like that on a smaller scale. Maybe they want to try their hand at the middle school, high school project, which was a 3D felting project, and do more felting, but in 3D. So there will be options for those kids that are done with the project and looking for something to do in class. Don't worry, there's still plenty. All right. I thought I had brought big kid stuff, but I guess I didn't. If you didn't see the Instagram stories today about how my morning has gone, go check that out. So I guess I did not bring that to show you. But our 6th, 7th, and our 8th, 12th are working on their 3D sculptures. So we've got little felted sculptures happening for the big kids. They look really good in the closet. In the staff meeting, I was like, is anybody concerned that kids won't finish? And they said, they were not. Most of the teachers are like, no, we'll finish. There might be a kid here and there, but it's not an overall like, oh my gosh, we all need more time. So just a note for this age group, as they get older, they are such delightful, responsible artists. We will take them all day, every day. So if your kids need more time to come in and work on their project, and you want to save yourself a trip of coming like a second time for makeups, right? Because typically most of us, if you're in for makeups, it's not on the same night as your class. If you would like to save yourself a second trip, these guys are welcome to either come to the early class and stay through their class, so they just double up, or if they're not the late class, they can, come to their class and stay late and double up that way. Of course, that all depends on your kid's attention span. Not everybody can felt for that long, but if that's something that it would be useful for you, for your family's schedule, please know that that's always an option, especially for these older kids, that they are more than welcome to work into classes. Okay, and that even goes for like if this doesn't work this week, that even goes for like May. If we're into May and you're like, hey, can they come for the class before theirs, work on their felting project in May, and then when they're there for their class, they can do the metals project. That's a-okay. And of course, makeups are always an option, but I also know that sometimes it's nice to just only come once a week. Yeah. Okay, so that's an option for everybody. Just let us know. All right, for our creative explorations class, here's a reminder that if you're in the Wednesday class at Flatwoods, there's no classes. We've already met 3 times this month, right? It's because we met on, what was the calendar date? It was the 8th, the 15th, and the 22nd. So we don't have class this week, which is the 29th. For my Friday people, even though it is May 1st, we're going to go ahead and have our last April class. And that's because we took one of those days off because of weather. So excuse me. So we'll finish up our fiber arts explorations before we move on to all of our metal stations and wire fun. For our Drawing 101, and I did not bring Drawing 101 journals. I did bring 102 and 103 stuff, but I didn't bring 101. So 101 worked last week on Sumi ink, and they did self-portraits from imagination. It's always a fun, very painterly medium. You'll see some Sumi ink examples when I pull out 103's work, because that's what they're doing. This week, they're going to revisit a lesson from October, which is one of our favorites. It's in October, we did a charcoal reductive drawing using bats, photographic references. And so it starts by filling your paper with charcoal, and then you remove highlights with an eraser. Typically, we draw in additive methods where we're adding in shadows. This time, we're removing shadows in order for the lights to show up. So it's a different way of drawing. We'll still use additive methods. Typically, we do the grayscale with the vine charcoal or the willow charcoal. We'll erase out the highlights, and then we'll add back in the shadows, the really dark values, using a compressed charcoal, which is just a little bit more oomph of a charcoal. So it's a really fun way of drawing because it makes you see those values. It's a very messy way of drawing. Some kids love it. Some kids, they're like, no thanks, charcoal isn't for me. In this month, different from what we did in October. October, the pictures are all bats because it's Halloweeny. Here in April, when we're doing it, it is an assortment of nocturnal animals. So you have more than just bats. So anyone that's like, well, I've already done this lesson, well, you could pick a different photograph. It's just the same method of drawing. It's a totally different picture. Maybe you'll draw the raccoon or fox, or I forget who else is nocturnal, but they're all in there. And then there's an owl, which I do love me some owls. So they're not all bats, and that way you can draw something different, or you could draw a different bat picture. We have multiple different bats, so it'll be a fun one, a little bit messy. Be prepared. Charcoal kind of gets everywhere. For our 102 kiddos, Realistic has been going back to their benchmark lessons. So last week was a self-portrait using colored pencils, and they did it from life. So we looked in a mirror instead of from photograph, and we drew ourselves. This week, we're going to tackle linear perspective, and we do this about 4 or 5 times a year where we have a lesson in linear perspective, and we present 1-point and 2-point perspective. It is a tough lesson. It's a very mathematical lesson, and it's one of those that it takes multiple times for you to get, because not only is it a difficult lesson, but some people just aren't ready for it. But that's okay. We want to present it. We want you to try it. We want you to work through it. And then next year you'll come back to this lesson again. And that's why 102 is designed to be repeated, because we're matching lessons with what you're ready for as well. And I don't want to have like a semester of linear perspective, because that would be frustrating to somebody that is not where they're at right now, right? But eventually, from 3rd to 6th grade, by the time you're into 102, I promise you've got perspective down. So we'll do 1-point and 2-point perspective, and they'll be drawing an interior room from their imagination. So we're gonna have that horizon line, vanishing point, vertical lines, horizontal lines, orthogonal lines. Orthogonals are the ones that go to the vanishing point. And we'll design a room, and then we'll put things in the room, also follow the rules of linear perspective. So it's an interesting way of drawing. Some kids, if this is their not their first time tackling it, they're gonna be a leg up on it. Last time we did this lesson, we did it in December when we did the stacked presents. We did it in October when we did haunted houses. And so then this is our next time to kind of get into it. So ask your kids what they thought. It's a challenge, but it's good for us. All right. For our 102 illustrative, we've been working with vehicles, right? And so I'm slowly designing a vehicle in 3 dimensions, thinking through it as an accessory to our character, or because a lot of these kids have, if not one, many original characters. And then we personified it, and we've started thinking through emotions that this vehicle could have, actions that this car could have. Oh, that's green. Let's see that. Turning this vehicle in space, right? So that it can be shown from different viewpoints and not just one side, right? Because it's like a person, it moves around. So it's been a really challenging month for them to tackle something that isn't a human figure, and to think through how to give human characteristics to an inanimate object, right? So it's we call that anthropomorphization. And so we're giving human characteristics to something that is typically inanimate, and so it contributes to our story. So that's where that lesson comes from. They will have a wild card week this week for our illustrated kids. That's something that we try to do in the 4th weeks if we can, so that they can either revisit a lesson, get a lesson that they really struggled with and get some help on it, finish a drawing that they're really proud of. Maybe they're like, I love this car and I'd love to continue it and put it in a setting or put it with my character. At that point, they could do that. Okay. It's not just a party. We expect them to be working. And if that's a problem, we'll come up with a lesson for them. It's not a problem. For our 103s, I had pictures on stories over the weekend of some finished 103 chalk pastel work, which was amazing. That was for realistic. They've been doing landscapes in chalk pastel. Our 103 illustratives have been working on Sumi ink pictures, high contrast, gestural portraits of some of their characters, and they've got some study pictures, and then they've started working a little bit bigger with the Sumi ink. So this is a bigger one that hasn't been inked yet. And then here's one that's actually all the way finished. So very high contrast. We used calligraphy nibs, brushes, and glass pens in order to apply the ink, kind of getting away from that very perfect micron or Sharpie. And it's a more technical drawing. This is a more free-flowing, when you're working with ink, it just has a different feel to it because it's more fluid, right? So it's been a challenge. Some of them liked it. Some of them were like, I'm glad I did it, but no thanks. Please give me my Sharpies. So, and it's been interesting not having color added to it, right? Because if you don't have color to delineate the difference between sections on your picture and you only have 2 values, you got to solve it a little bit differently. Let's go through some housekeeping. So Sunday is our art show. Yay. We're so excited. So we can't wait to see you. It is 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock at the Belvoir Winery in Liberty. There's an entire webpage that has a bunch of information on there that you can check it out. It has information on what to expect at the event. It has information on how the awards work. It is an open house style event, so it is a come and go thing. I will say most people are going to be there at 4 o'clock on the dot. We will not open doors to the spaces until 4 o'clock, so we're not going to open them early. If you don't like crowds, come at 6, because 4 o'clock is insane. Insane amount of people, wall to wall. And we are in 3 spaces, but wall to wall. So the art is spread out in 3 spaces. It is in the first floor ballroom, which when you go up the stairs and turn right, that's where the ballroom will be. So when I go up the stairs, it's like a half set of stairs, right, to get to the main level. And the bar is right in front. You go to the right is the first floor ballroom. To the left is another ballroom space. It is called the ice cream parlor. There is no ice cream. I did not name it. And I didn't realize this last year until after the event, that I kept calling it the ice cream parlor. And people thought there was going to be ice cream. I didn't name it. That's the name of the room from the Belvoir. Like when I book the space, you book the ice cream parlor. You can ask Jesse maybe or somebody at the Belvoir why it is called the ice cream parlor. I don't know, but that's the name of the room. And so that's what I call it. But there's no ice cream. So please prepare yourselves. We had some sad kids. Oh, dear. There's no ice cream. So just art. So sorry. So there's art in the ice cream parlor as well, although not art. And then upstairs, so you'll go up 1 level to the 2nd floor. There's the grand ballroom, which is the biggest of the ballrooms, and we will have art in the biggest ballroom called the grand ballroom. So there are 3 different spaces for art. When you get your program, your kid's name will be in one of those spaces. And so if you're looking for where your kid's art is, it'll be in the program. So it'll say exhibiting in the ice cream parlor, and it'll have all the kids listed so you can find their art. Other things that we have happening, there's, for those of you who are new, for those of you who have done this before, it's identical to last year. Changed nothing. Okay. Just rinse and repeat. So they're in the main ballroom, or the main ballroom, the first floor ballroom, there will be a photo booth station with the splatter painted backdrop and the balloon swag, and all the props for you to take photos if you would like. There will also be, that's where you turn in your bingo cards. So if you fill out your bingo card with a blackout, you can turn in, this is an activity for the kids. If you turn in your bingo card, we've got prizes there. It's just like a treasure chest prize, nothing huge. And then in the ice cream parlor is where the marquee is. So it's another photo opportunity. So it's the light up signs that say artist. So that will be there. And then in the ice cream parlor is where you can pick up certificates. We did change something this year. So last year, we only had certificates for the kids who were award winners. This year, everybody who exhibits get a certificate. And so it just said, to recognize them as exhibitors. So if you are showing art, you have a certificate to pick up. If you don't, come pick it up because it's crazy nutty. Don't worry. We will get it to your home studio and we'll just put it with your art. So we'll give it to you. All right. But you can come to the certificate table and get your certificate. If you are an award winner, that's where you'll also get your ribbon. So your certificate and your ribbon. When you're looking at the art, the ribbons will be hung with your art. You don't take the ribbon that is there. That stays there. It is just for show. It has magnets on the back. And eventually that one comes down and we save it. We reuse those year after year. Your gallery tag this year will also have a sticker on it noting that it is an award winner. So we've got different colored star stickers. Blue for first, red for second. I think silver is third. And then the gold is honorable mentions. Okay. So we'll have those. That's new too, because last year we had some issues where the ribbons fell off and then people didn't know where to put them back up. So they just put it someplace. And then I had people coming like, I had a first place ribbon next to my art. So, every year we learn. So anyways, so now we got stickers as well. So if you're an award winner, you can come and get your ribbon from the table. And then upstairs in the grand ballroom, again, more art. Anything three-dimensional will be up there because that's where the tables are to show off 3D arts. And then all the vertical stands will also be on display. That's where the red carpet will be. So if you want to walk the red carpet, you could do that with the logoed banner and the balloon arch. And then of course there's cookies up there, and there will be more cookies this year because I do know that we ran out of cookies last year. Yeah. What else do I need to tell you? If you drinks nobody took advantage of this last year. The studio doesn't pay for wine or wine slushies, sorry, but we do cover the tab for all of our families who are sodas, waters, whatever you need. So if you go down to the bar to get a drink, tell them you're with Orange Easel, so that way your non-alcoholic beverages are covered by us. Okay, and they just keep a tab for me, and I just swipe my card at the end of the night. Okay. Because one year we thought we would do beverages, and that was a pain. I was like, that's fine. I'll just have you guys handle it because that's what they do. So rather than us hauling up punch containers and keeping them filled, I'll let Billboard do it, and I'll pay them. So that's how that works. When you come in the door, that you can grab a program. We will identify the artists who are exhibiting and give them an Orange Easel name tag, so that way they can walk around and be known as an artist who is exhibiting in the show. If you just want to come in and see your kids' art, that's fine, but if you can spend a little bit more time, there's some pretty phenomenal things that are on display. There will be a Best in Show that will be noted with a Best in Show ribbon, so you can look for that. And that was decided yesterday. That's the most heated discussion of the year, is when the instructors put out all the first places and stand over the top of them and decide who's best in show. There is discussion for next year for adding a People's Choice where the kids can vote. Of course, that would not be awarded during the event because unless we can figure out a digital way to do it, just because it's, it's harder to count the votes. What else? There are award winners for, and this is all on the website, but there are award winners for every category. So the 5 categories were painting, realistic drawing, illustrative drawing, 2D printmaking and mixed media, and 3D sculpture and mixed media, right? So those were the 5 categories. In each 5 categories, there are age levels. So there's a K 3rd, 4th and 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th, 12th, and preschool. So there is a first place for each category times 5 age levels. So if you're looking at something and you're like, how did that one get first place? Not to be rude. Keep in mind that just because they're in the same category as your kid doesn't mean they're in the same age as your kid, right? So, and we don't publish the awards list ahead of time. Like, I don't have it printed in the program because the program has to be sent out so much in advance before the judging happens. But afterwards, I will write up a blog post and list out all our award winners. So they'll be in the blog, and so you can look and see what they were. Okay. There is no rhyme or reason for how things are put up in the show. It is random, generated on spreadsheet. So that's how that works. All right, I think that's it. All the original instructors will be there. Will be spread out throughout the venue. Just kind of milling around. Some will be manning different stations and different tables, but we will try to have a name tag sticker on as well so that you can identify us as instructors. And if you have questions, you can let us know. Okay. That was a lot, but definitely come to the show, man, because it is a blast. Parking wise, it can get really nutty right at 4:00. So just be patient, be prepared, and be patient. Same for getting there. There's only one road into the winery, and I'm told that 291 was a hot mess at 4 o'clock. So just, again, go in with the right expectations. Whenever you get there, we will be there, and later is better. I promise. The other question we get is, do you take your art? And the answer is no. Like, you don't take it when you leave. It stays there for the entire show. At 7 o'clock, the instructors will break down the entire show. It actually goes up and comes down in one day. So we get there at noon and we set the whole thing, and then we are out of there and usually back to the studio by 8. Believe it or not, it comes down really fast. So all the art comes down and it gets it's labeled on the back with the studio, and so it gets divided in the building. It gets divided by Liberty and Flatwoods. And then it'll end up back at your studio, and your kids can pick it up in classes. Okay, that's it. All right, let's move on to another housekeeping thing. Last regular classes, the week of May 18th, we talked about this last week. That's for all of our students. If you are in a drawing or a multimedia class, you'll also have an open studio. We'll talk about it more in the month of May. And then we are still hoping to interview some people. I just had some volunteers who emailed me back and they were like, sign me up. And I am so touched, you guys. Thank you. We got a lot going on this week. And then after this week, I have a high school graduate. And so I have a lot going on the next week. But that third week, I'm all yours. And we're going to get those videos done. And that's it. That's all I have. If anybody needs anything from me, I will be here all week long. It's a busy week in the studio, and we can't wait to see you at the end of it for the art show. If you have questions, please let me know. Talk to you guys soon.